On September 14th, in a football game against Great Falls Central, Choteau senior Pete Henderson came out wearing number 12 instead of his usual number 2. He was honoring the number 1 last time in a game before it was retired forever. Number 12 belonged to former Bulldogs football player J.J. Werdahl. Werdahl played a key part of Choteau's defense as a linebacker for 4 years before graduating back in 2015.
Pete's always been a scrappy athlete. I mean, he's just a fighter, and he reminds me a lot of J.J. in the way that he pursues his athletics. He's a wrestler, plays running back and linebacker just like JJ did. So just reminded me a lot of the spirit that JJ had on the field.
One thing I liked about JJ, he's kind of like me. He wasn't super real big or anything like that, but he had heart and he played hard, and so I kind of looked up to JJ in that aspect of it.
Werdahl was even better at another sport, wrestling. He placed at state all 4 years, and Choteau won the state tournament JJ's senior year. He went 40-4 that season. Werdahl became a state champion himself in the 130-pound weight class in his sophomore year in 2013, joining his brother Cole, who also won a state wrestling title that year, and his older brother Jesse, who also has a Choteau state title under his belt. All 3 brothers are on the school's Wall of Fame, right next to each other.
He was so headstrong. He might have been, 5'6" and 135 pounds, but he believed he was a 7-foot tall guy that was 300 pounds and just a beast. JJ truly believed he was the best, and he didn't do it in a cocky way that would irritate people. He did it in his own way. He just, everything was up here with JJ.
He wanted it.
Well, and I think it was looking up to his brothers, and when Jesse won state his senior year or whatever, you could tell that was something that he always wanted to do. All of our boys, they just had hard work ethic, and you're not gonna get anywhere unless you work hard and put your heart into it. And that was just, you work hard.
Even though he had scholarship offers to wrestle in college, JJ turned them down and instead secured various construction jobs after school. Then, on the 4th of July this past summer, Werdahl was involved in a one-vehicle rollover on U.S. Highway 287. He would not survive. JJ Werdahl was just 21 years old.
He made our family complete. He was just full of life and happy-go-lucky. He was always happy and fearless and just lived life to the fullest, always.
So on that evening in Choteau, the hometown crowd truly said goodbye to number 12 for the Bulldogs. Werdahl was an inspiration to Henderson and all that were lucky to know him.
I just know JJ as hard-hitting, hustling, doing everything like that, and I think that everyone's gonna remember JJ like that, and when they think of JJ, they're gonna think of just a great guy and ready to work, and so I think they're gonna wanna do the same thing JJ did.
JJ Werdahl's legacy will live on in Choteau. His effort, his impact, his memory will never be forgotten. Brett Kennedy, MTN Sports.
Mixed martial arts returned to Great Falls over the weekend for ICF 30, but it wasn't all about combat. It was about supporting a community member in need. Brett Kennedy reports.
This adorable little dude is 7-year-old Wyatt Grove. He's enjoying a fun night with his family at the Fusion Fight League Cage Fights event at Four Seasons Arena in Great Falls. What are you most looking forward to at the fights tonight, would you say?
Knocking people out.
Wyatt loves to play sports and is the craziest fun-loving kid there is. But things came to a halt a few weeks ago. Wyatt started getting really bad headaches. Antibiotics weren't working. The Grove family sent him in for an MRI. The results they got, no family should hear. Wyatt had a cancerous tumor in the back of his brain. Wyatt and his mother Jessica were life-flighted to Salt Lake City. After his 8-hour surgery, the tumor was removed. After 7 days, they were able to go home. But starting April 23rd, Wyatt and his mom will leave the rest of the family and have to move back to Salt Lake for 7 weeks for Wyatt's radiation treatment. At the Fusion Fights, all fighters fought for Wyatt's cause. Multiple fundraisers at the fights went to the Grove family.
Very humbling. It's amazing how our community pulls together for something like this, and we had no idea. And then just hearing about everybody wanting to help out and help Wyatt has just been, I don't know how to describe it. Just humbling and very thankful, very blessed that all these people want to help him out.
It's just been really awesome how many people call and text and Facebook us just to show their support, and just all the prayers are really appreciated.
Wyatt's family got to sit ringside and watch the fights all night. But the biggest moment of all came after the second fight. Not only did Wyatt have his own introduction, his face on the big screen, and walk off the stage with the ring girls like all the other fighters, but he and his family were welcomed into the ring to an enormous crowd roar, where the family thanked everyone for their support. The massive positivity and support from the community has helped keep the family in good spirits as they go through this tough time.
Us and our family, we're very tight. That's been a real solid foundation for us, but also everybody willing to help out. We know that it's going to be really tough. It's going to be really tough when they move, but also being in Salt Lake and seeing, a lot of other families going through it too. It's really tough, but just the positivity that everybody has and their outlook on it. He's got a great group of people around him, a lot of good doctors and support of the town and his family. So he's going to be just fine, hopefully. He'll be good.
Brett Kennedy, MTN Sports.
I am live here at Memorial Stadium, and like you said, it's Great Falls High and CMR. Enough said, right? Green versus blue, one side of the river versus the other side. It's always pretty heated between these two teams. This year, though, there's not really a lot on the line, but that doesn't mean that the intensity of this rivalry does not exist. With this year's crosstown matchup between CMR and Great Falls High now upon us, neither team will be heading to the playoffs this year, as the Rustlers sit with a 3-6 record and the Bison at 2-7. So that means that only town pride will be on the line.
It is crosstown, and it means a lot to people who have played at both schools here, and the fact that we know some of those players over there, and that really, ups the competitive level, I think, a little bit. Is a little bit of bragging rights.
We want to walk off the field successful, and we have good feelings about a season that maybe we didn't live up to what we thought we were going to be. But yet, every week you still got to play. And, when they put the cross on the end of the year, it adds a little bit more significance to that.
I'd say this is probably one of the biggest rivalries in the state, one of the biggest games in the state. All the classic games that have happened throughout the years, and it's such a blessing to be a part of this one this year.
The Rustlers will look to avenge last year's 34-6 loss against the Bison. Both sides know that when the green and blue meet, it's going to be a dogfight. That brings a mutual respect for one another, not hatred.
We're just all friends out there, and we've known each other been playing against each other since we're little, and we're all just great friends, so that's what makes it mean a lot.
Getting crosstown, cross state, any rivalry like that is a big deal, and we only get to play them once a year, so it's a special thing for the kids on both sides of the river.
The game sits as the last regular season game for both teams. The hype of the rivalry has built up all year leading to this showdown. One last chance for the seniors on both sides to play the sport they love.
I really like having it at the end of the year, definitely, because I think it's like the pinnacle of your season. It's the defining moment, whether you went 0 for, you won every game. If you win crosstown, you won crosstown. You can talk to anybody in the town and say that you won crosstown.
I love it. It just makes it so much more special, and both teams, won't be going to the playoffs, unfortunately. But, it's our last game, so both schools are just going to compete their butts off, and, I like it a lot. It feels a lot more special.
Most athletes commit to their sport full-time. But what if you also had another full-time job to focus on while still performing in your sport at a very high level? Our Brett Kennedy has more on one such athlete.
Captain Joel Bischoff is one of the airmen stationed on Malmstrom Air Force Base. He is a member of the United States Air Force Triathlon Team. As you can imagine, adding rigorous training on top of your duties on base means he doesn't get a lot of free time.
Typically, I'm waking up every morning around 5 a.m. I go hit the pool. I'll swim anywhere from 2,000 to 3,000 yards, sometimes up to 4,000 yards. After that, I'll maybe do a short weight routine, some strength training, and then that lunchtime, I'll try to break away for about an hour if I can do that, and you'll be seeing me either run or bike around the installation perimeter as many times as I can get in. And then on Saturday and Sundays, I have a long run and ride out somewhere.
This year was the 4th year that Captain Bischoff competed at the Department of Defense National Championships, held on the base in Ventura County, California. This year he qualified for the 2nd year in a row for the World Military Triathlon Championship. Captain Bischoff competed last year in Warendorf, Germany. This year it was in Lidköping, Sweden. Due to a logistical issue, the captain wasn't able to travel over there, so he'll be sent to do a makeup race for the USA Triathlon National Championships in Cleveland, Ohio in August.
Being able to qualify for one of these military world championships is a really incredible, unique opportunity. The slogan they have there is friendship through sport, and it's a really unique experience to go over there and compete with Russians, Chinese, people you don't normally get to hang out with and see too much, but as well as a lot of other of our allied nations, but just all coming together, competing in sport, and competing as friends.
Captain Bischoff started doing triathlons down in Helena when he was on the track, swimming, and cross-country team at Helena High. Then his competitive drive molded into supporting a much bigger cause.
My father actually went through a spat of cancer in 2009. He got diagnosed with multiple myeloma, and I was able to run with the multiple myeloma team, and so able to run for a good cause there, help my dad fight cancer. For 5 years he fought it. That was a really honorable thing for me to do, and I really enjoyed that. So now it's promoted, like I said again, my own kind of personal fitness through the challenges we go through here, but also as a legacy for my dad.
The captain says his best time in the triathlon is 1 hour and 50 minutes. He enjoys the community of endurance athletes that triathlons bring. He's met a lot of friends through it, and Captain Bischoff loves comparing stories with fellow athletes about balancing everything with the sport. In Great Falls, Brett Kennedy, MTN Sports.